that is something that is not getting nearly enough attention. Did you even know about it? Getting Ukrainian children back from Russia is a priority for Zelensky, and it could be possibly a massive war crime. So how will this all work? How widespread is it? Well, my next guest says Russia illegally abducted up to 35,000 children. I want to bring in the executive director of Yale's Humanitarian Research Lab, Nathaniel Raymond. He's been investigating these kidnappings, and Russian opposition politician and former Russian political prisoner, Vladimir Kara-Murza. Thank you both so much for coming on. Okay, Nathaniel, for people who don't know, you have likened this to what the Nazis did. What is the scale of this? What are we seeing?
The scale of this set of crimes, Jesse, is basically unheard of since World War II, when the Nazis abducted tens of thousands of Polish children and what was the basis of the 8th Nuremberg trial. What Russia's done is taken at least as many, and I emphasize at least as many as 35,000 children to 200 locations, many of them summer camps, over 3,500 miles from the Black Sea all the way to the Eastern Pacific. And they're unable to speak Ukrainian, and many have been put into forced adoption and fostering. And most disturbingly, for older male children, they are forced into military training.
Talk about the motivations and what this might mean tactically. But by the way, for people who don't know, this could technically be considered genocide, right, under international law?
It is an element of what is known as the Genocide Convention, which is the forced transfer of civilians, in this case, kids, from one national or ethnic group to another. They're having their passports changed. In some cases, their names and their birth certificates themselves are being changed by Russian judges.
And we are, again, not hearing enough about this. So, Vladimir, for people who don't know, why would Putin do this? Why would Russia do this? What is the tactical advantage? What is the long-term strategy in allegedly abducting 35,000 children?
Well, Jesse, first of all, thank you so much for covering the story, because you're absolutely right. We're not hearing enough about this. When people discuss potential ceasefire agreements or deals or peace summits over ending the brutal, unprovoked and criminal war of aggression that Vladimir Putin's regime is leading against Ukraine, we hear about all sorts of things. We hear about land swaps that Donald Trump just hinted at in the run-up to his Alaska meeting with Putin. We hear about sanctions. We hear about frozen assets. We hear about the extraction of rare earth minerals and God knows what else. There's not enough talk about people. And there are thousands of people's lives that are at stake in any of these negotiations. It is the children whom you're talking about. Only the confirmed official number stands at about 19,500. The actual figures, I would concur with what Nathaniel is saying. The actual figures are much, much higher than this. And by the way, let's not forget that this is going all the way to the top of Putin's dictatorship. One of his closest political acolytes, a man by the name of Sergei Mironov, his longtime colleague back from his days in St. Petersburg, who is now one of the leaders of Russia's rubber-stamped so-called parliament. We don't have real parliament. We haven't had free elections for decades. But one of the leaders of so-called parliament, Sergei Mironov, has recently adopted, his family has adopted essentially a stolen child from Ukraine. This is going all the way to the top of the Kremlin dictatorship. And it's not just that it can be considered as a war crime. It is actually an internationally recognized war crime under the Geneva Convention, the 4th Geneva Convention. And it is precisely because of this that in March of 2023, the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin personally because of the war crime of the forced abduction of Ukrainian civilian population, in this case children. And this is, by the way, the exact reason why the Trump-Putin meeting is happening in Alaska, of all places, because Putin is paranoid. He's afraid of flying over the airspace of any country that is subject to the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, that is a party to the Rome Statute. He's paranoid about his plane being down and he being arrested. To honor the arrest warrant, this is why he's only flying a few dozen miles over the Bering Straits between the Russian Far East and Alaska to make sure he's safe.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.